Hello and welcome back to Devi Daly Yoga, where it's not about how your yoga looks, it's all about how it feels. We're going to be doing a yin yoga practice with a bolster. This will be a super relaxing practice. We will stick with holds of about 3 minutes for each of the poses, and we will start in a reclined butterfly pose. So take your bolster the long way on one half of your mat and have a blanket available too, so that you can put it on top of you with the soles of your feet together, lying back over the bolster and taking this blanket just for a little bit of extra warmth and support over your midsection, or cover yourself any way that it feels good, and resting here for our first 3 minutes, finding some decompression space in your lungs by taking a deep breath in and then opening your mouth to exhale. Letting yourself settle in here. Noticing what's here in your body. Feeling your breath. Feeling gentle stretching sensations wherever they are in your body right now. Maybe the inner thighs, maybe the lower back or the middle back, or the chest. And letting the breath be your guide to carry you more deeply into this place of softness, this place of surrendering into the support of the bolster, the support of the floor. Breathing in and breathing out. There's nothing else that you need to do right now. Nothing to achieve. And just be with your breath. And slowly now bring the knees toward each other and roll over onto one side to come off of your bolster, making your way into a supported child's pose with the bolster. So you'll take your bolster again on one half of your mat, and then with your knees just wider than the bolster, pull it back so that you can come over the bolster and turn your head one way. And this is our rebound that will take just for 1 minute. As you settle down, feeling the contact of your head or face. Perhaps hugging your bolster if you'd like to. And feeling the way the bolster supports your chest, your ribs, your belly. And now we'll make a very gentle transition into frog pose or tadpole pose. So tadpole looks a lot like child's pose, and you just open your knees a little wider until you feel a stretch on the inner thighs. And frog pose is just a little bit wider, where maybe the feet will also come apart, but you can decide what feels good, whether the feet stay close and the knees come wider, or the feet also come wide. So play around with it. Another option here, if you're on a floor that's hard, is to have something under your knees to pad the knees so that you can go wider than your yoga mat. So you'll want to spread your blanket out as wide as you need to. Coming into your frog pose. And resting here for 3 minutes as you soften and breathe. And again, you might like the idea of holding your bolster with your arms, or just letting the hands rest on the floor. And wherever you are, whatever variation you're taking, let yourself soften into your breath. Soften through your exhale. Gently settling into this process of allowing, of melting, of surrendering. Nothing else you need to do. Breathing in and breathing out. And slowly releasing, coming into a rebound on the back. So put your bolster aside, or rather put your bolster under your knees, and take 1 minute to rest on your back. And in this time of the rebound, feel the effects of the pose. Feel the rebound. Noticing your inner thighs. You could let your legs come a little wider if that feels comfortable. And breathe into the inner thighs. And now bending your knees, hug them into your chest. Gently rock side to side. And moving into upside down dragon with the block under the hips. So for this posture, we'll come into, I'm just getting my blanket out of the way here. We will get the bolster under the hips by lifting up into a bridge-like position. Slide the bolster under and then come into a bridge just for a few moments before we move into the upside down dragon. So here we can just take a moment to feel this opening in the hips that's beginning, the front of the hips, the front of the thighs. And breathing into this area, the whole front of your pelvis. And now taking the right knee in toward the chest, clasping the hands around the knee and holding here. Or if this is difficult, you could make it easier by just having your right foot on the floor. Or if you want more sensation, you could bring it into more of a happy baby variation. So holding for 3 minutes in whichever pose you're in, whichever variation. And we want to feel this in the front of the left thigh. So that's your extended leg. Front of the left hip, the psoas, which is a deep muscle in the front of your hip, and then also the front of the thigh, the quadriceps. And you can feel free to experiment with different angles of the legs, different placement of your bolster, taking care of your body, honoring your intuition, and honoring the intuitive flow of your breath in and out. Softening here. Softening in through the front of the pelvis. Breathing in, breathing out. And as you breathe in again, sending the breath to the front of the left hip and the front of the left thigh. And slowly releasing, right leg down. Stretch the arms up over the head. Inhale, maybe a big yawn, and exhale to the other side. Left knee in for upside down dragon. Or your variations, less intense, having the left foot on the floor, or more intensity by taking it into this happy baby variation. And letting your awareness soften into your breath, into the steady flow of your breath. Next breath that you breathe in, send it right to the front of the hip and the front of the thigh on your right side. As if the breath could expand this part of your body. Expanding and deflating. Breathing in and breathing out. Nothing else to do. And releasing the left leg, coming into a rebound on the back, sliding the bolster down under your knees and letting the knees open to a comfortable distance apart from each other. 1 minute here. Arms can be angled out to the side or maybe even all the way out to your sides. Breathing into the belly and into the heart. Feeling the energy that's moving through the body at this point in the practice. And slowly now bend your knees, hug them in toward your chest. Wrap your arms tight around your legs as you lift your forehead up toward your knees. Squeezing up into a ball. And releasing the head back down, coming into a side bend over the bolster. So rolling onto your right side, come up onto your right hand and slide the bolster under so that you can have it supporting your right ribs as you come down. And the arms can come up over the head, right arm and left arm both over the head, and then you can rest your head on your arm, or if that's not entirely comfortable, another option is to take the right arm to the side and just have the left arm. And the target area here is the whole left side of the body, the arm, armpit, the ribs, and the waist. And if you need support under your head, you can use your blanket for this modified variation. Fold it up as high as you'd like. Taking 3 minutes in your variation. And your feet could be on top of each other or scissored with the left foot behind the right. And as you settle in for the first minute here, you might just want to roll forward and back on your bolster to feel just what angle you'd like to rest at. You always have the option to bend the knees here as well. And some people like to have left hand behind the head. Finding your pose, breathing into the left side of the torso, the left side of the ribs, left side of the waist. Continuing to soften here, relaxing into gravity, relaxing into the support of the bolster. And slowly releasing, and you can just roll right over to the other side. I'm gonna flip sides so that I don't have to turn my back side to you. And arranging yourself on the other side, maybe with both arms over the head, or maybe with the left arm forward, and the head can rest on the floor here, or on a bolster, or a blanket. Enjoying the wonderful opening of the lungs that this pose provides, the sides of the ribs, which are really the home of the lungs. Each breath expanding into this right side. And each breath expanding into the right side of the spine. Breathing in and breathing out. And slowly coming out of it, coming onto your back for a 1-minute rebound with the bolster under your knees once again. And with your side bodies wonderfully expanded and lengthened, notice what you feel now. Knees coming apart as much as you'd like, arms spreading out as much as you'd like. Feeling the support of the earth below you, the support of the bolster beneath your knees. And now bend your knees, draw them in. Circle the knees one way and then the other. And roll over to one side, coming up to a supported sleeping swan pose. You might want to have your blanket nearby for this as we come into it with the right knee forward. And turning on the shin and placing the bolster at an angle that feels supportive for your chest and your head. We will take 3 minutes on each side, and you can turn your head and chest to the side and hug the bolster. You can pull this blanket underneath your hip and thigh, fold your blanket higher if you'd like. Or other options are to turn the bolster this way and have it under your elbows and forearms, or to kind of bring it on top of your foot and have it supporting your belly a bit more. And relaxing into this stretch, breathing into the outer right hip, breathing in and breathing out. And relaxing into this stretch, breathing into the outer right hip, breathing in and breathing out. And slowly coming up Changing to the other side. Sliding your left knee forward and shifting your bolster to whatever angle you'd like. Using the blanket under your knee if you'd like. And settling down. Rearranging until you feel it in your left glutes, which might mean turning or angling your torso more to the left or more to the right, or twisting a little more one way or the other. And wherever you are, taking a deep breath in and releasing with your exhale, softening into the shape, softening into the support of the bolster. And slowly releasing, coming into child's pose, straddling your bolster, pulling it back, resting your chest and head on the bolster. Turn your head one way. 1 minute rebound here. Slowly rising up. So moving forward to place the bolster underneath your ribs for seal pose or Sphinx as a modified pose. So we take this bolster under the ribs and really kind of get it in there so it's supporting your belly. And this feels wonderful to have this support of the lower body in the Sphinx. But if this is too intense for you, then you could bring your elbows onto your bolster instead. Usually you'll bring the bolster forward a little more for a modified Sphinx. In either pose, we're stretching into the pelvis. The front of the pelvis is stretching, and we're feeling this wonderful therapeutic compression of the back body, the sacrum, the lumbar spine. And you can fine-tune this as you settle in by seeing if your legs want to be narrower, maybe even touching each other, which will be more intense, or if you open the legs wider, that usually makes it less intense. And now taking a little bit of a micro journey with the head, just exploring your range of motion here. The head can come back and to the sides, forward a bit, rotate a little bit right and left. And finding a place where the head wants to rest, or you could continue just having these little movements which can be helpful if the head and neck tend to accumulate tension here. Then just keeping these little movements can help to alleviate that. Softening through the throat, the chest, the upper back. If there's any discomfort, remember you have the option to open the arms wider, maybe even wider than your mat, or to bring them narrower. Resting into the bolster and feeling how as you breathe, your diaphragm is kind of massaging itself against the bolster. Softening, relaxing the whole lower body, the pelvis, the legs, the sacrum. And slowly coming out of the pose, taking it into child's pose, this time with the arms resting ahead of you on the bolster as the bolster stays wide. So taking a rebound here with this gentle little extra arm stretch. Your forehead can be suspended, or your head, part of your head might be supported by the bolster. Resting, breathing. And now coming up and taking 1 minute in a triceps stretching puppy pose. So elbows on the bolster, hands together, and your hips are pretty much above your knees. As you settle your forehead to the bolster, settle your heart down toward the earth. The hands can come behind the head. Maybe they come down between the shoulder blades, maybe they don't. And then there can be this feeling of pulling back with your sitting bones to get more length in the triceps and the side bodies. And some people like to just turn the hands palm down, one hand on top of the other. And breathing here. Releasing triceps, puppy pose, and coming into saddle pose. So the first variation will be kind of the mellowest version, which is sitting on your bolster with your bolster right in between your feet, and you could stay right here. A second variation is from here to begin coming back. Maybe the hands come onto the floor, or if that's too much, the hands could come back onto the bolster. Next choice is to sit either directly on top of your feet or between the feet and have the bolster sideways and lean back onto the hands. The hands could be as wide as the edges of the bolster. And if you want more sensation from there, coming down onto the elbows. Again, you could be sitting in between your feet rather than on top of them. And the final choice is coming onto your bolster all the way back to rest on the floor. On the bolster. Taking 3 minutes in your variation, whether you're sitting with a bolster between the feet, on top of your feet, or widening the feet and sitting down on the floor in between them. In all of these variations, we are stretching into the front of the thighs, front of the hips. And you may also be feeling a back bend. The hands could be down alongside the body, out to the sides, or up over the head, maybe holding opposite forearms or elbows. Feeling the opening in the ribs wherever you are, breathing into this opening of the ribs. Breathing into your sacrum. Breathing into the front of your hips. Breathing into the front of your thighs. slowly releasing saddle pose. You can push yourself up or just roll to one side. And making your way onto your back with a bolster under the knees for a 1-minute rebound. Noticing what wonderful array of sensations is coming up after saddle pose. Maybe you feel some energy around your sacrum, your lower back, the front of your pelvis. Maybe the feet, the bones of the feet, ankles. Bend your knees now and roll over slowly to the side to come up for a seated forward bend, half butterfly pose. We'll begin with the right leg bent and the left leg forward, and the bolster can come alongside of the leg or it can angle away from the leg so that it's more in between the two knees. And you have some choices here of the bolster could be a head support, or if you like coming down farther, you can bring it elbows on the bolster, or turn it sideways, elbows on the bolster like this. And if you are someone who bends farther than this pretty easily, then your chest and head might come onto the bolster and you can turn your head to one side. 3 minutes. And once you've made your fine-tuning alignment adjustments here, making sure that you feel a stretch in the back of your left thigh, the hamstrings, and maybe also the lower back. Begin to soften into this forward bend, allowing the yin effect, the inward calming effect of forward bending to begin to calm your system, relax your mind, and ease your heart. Breathing in and breathing out. There's nothing else you need to do right now. slowly rising up, very slowly and very gently changing sides. Bolster along the leg or angling in. 3 minutes. Again, these choices: bolster against the head, wide bolster for the elbows, or a long bolster for the elbows or the chest and head. And letting the breath be the guide to carry you into the place of softness, into the place of letting go. Allowing this forward bowing gesture to soothe your system. Relax your spine. Release your neck. And breathe into your hamstrings and your spine. Slowly rising back up, making your way into Savasana, lying back with your bolster under your knees, and your blanket could cover your body or come under your head, or if you have 2 blankets, do both. And making yourself totally comfortable here. Arms could be down alongside the body at an angle or straight out to the sides. Let the legs separate to a comfortable distance. Adjusting as you need to so that you feel open and spacious in your spine, your shoulders, your ribs and shoulder blades as they nestle against the ground, the back of your head and neck as they soften into the support. Feeling open and relaxed in the pelvis, the thighs, the hips, the legs. and drawing a deep breath into the body, filling the belly, filling the back, filling the heart. Through the mouth, exhale. Two more times like this. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And as you rest here now, just let your breath be easy and natural, and feel the energy that's moving through your body. Now that you've come to this place of rest, after all of the postures your body has just done, all of the movements and stretches, now feeling the effect. Feeling how your energy body has been awakened and stirred and stimulated. And feeling how this healing energy is now doing its inner inside dance, dancing around, repairing tissues, strengthening joints. Nothing else you need to do now but breathe in and breathe out. And now beginning to come back to your breath a little more deeply by taking a deep breath in, exhaling through the mouth. And now with an inhale, stretch your arms up over your head, stretch long down through your legs. Take a big yawning breath. And bending the knees, rolling over onto one side. Slowly come up to bring the practice to a close. Palms together in front of the heart. Taking 3 breaths here. And that is today's practice with a bolster. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.